it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kind of patient, 'cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm. And grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins.
Oh, hello, everybody. It's the Crypto Crow. I am personally, I used to be really down about everything going on in the market, watching Bitcoin go down, watching the altcoins go down. And for a little bit, I was a little apprehensive. I was kind of like, okay, enough is enough. And I tell you what, I'm actually kind of excited about what's going on. We've already seen Ian Bellina kind of capitulate. I don't even like that word. That word to me is almost like delicious or moist. I hate those words, so I had to share them. And I have to say, I kind of like what's happening, because think about it. For somebody like me, and it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. For somebody like me, obviously everybody knows at this point that I'm launching an exchange soon. Well, part of launching an exchange means I have to stock that exchange with crypto, okay? And I would much rather stock this exchange on a low than it, $15,000, $16,000 Bitcoin and everything else following suit. So that part excites me a little bit, because I feel like I'm getting a break. Things could be timed almost perfectly, depending on when I pull the trigger. And what's up, Rolex 23? Haven't seen you in a while, man. Driving right now through Dayton, Ohio. Really, you're like barely an hour away from me right now. So we're going to talk about a few different things. Number one, right now we're looking at a day chart of Bitcoin. Now, I drew this pennant a few days ago, okay? And I had I had drawn out like a hypothetical wave and, where this would end and what would happen to the price afterwards and so forth. And I look like a farmer. That's funny. Never farmed a day in my life. I've roofed houses, though. That really sucked. For people that are roofing houses, man, that's a tough job. I did that for 2 weeks, and I rage quit after getting stung by a bee on the neck. Almost fell off the roof. So anyway, looking at Bitcoin right now, I'm seeing the price drop. Now, here's the thing, and I've said this before, quite a few videos back. I basically said, hey, you know what? I see the price getting down to 8,500. And this isn't I don't know. I think it was 10.5 or maybe 11 grand, or I don't remember what it was. And it was moving up. And I put it out there that I said, look, I don't think this is going to be a big run up. I think we're probably going to hit 8,500. And since then, I've seen so many people talk about 8,500. And not that I was the first, but I was one of the first. And just based off of market sentiment. And a part of that was because I felt that initial run up was caused by one person. And that's the thing. This market is still so small and so easily manipulated by whales that we're almost at their mercy. And we're while they can set a trend, they can set a tone, because nobody necessarily knows, oh, well, this is one person that bought or sold 8,000 Bitcoins or 7,000 Bitcoins over multiple exchanges and yada, yada, yada. That's what's happening. And I believe that the person that bought in sold, he basically did what everybody else typically does. You buy into a position, you let it rise up, you sell your position, and then you let your profit ride. And, the guy may have scored 1,000 free Bitcoin over the course of a month doing that swing trade. And, from there, it's all profit. I mean, and it's ridiculous, really, but that's what's happening. And I think that because of that, people started to FOMO a bit. We started to see that initial pump, and which is fine. But I didn't see it lasting, and I knew it wasn't going to last. And I felt like the momentum was, it just wasn't going to last. Period. I mean, when you see giant candles like that, these giant wicks, you see that kind of thing happening. Look, I'm telling you guys right now, I don't think that Bitcoin's price or even the altcoin price really has that much to do with the news. I feel like people are always trying to find reasons outside of whales moving the market. And if they think for a second that an article is going to have that much impact on moving 7,000 Bitcoin, I think you're crazy. I think it's whales that are playing the market and they're doing what they can. That's all there is to it. Now, looking at the daily chart, you can see we're still kind of hanging out inside this pennant. And maybe we wind down and we start going into more of a consolidation phase. I've got this meeting around August. Now, if we look at a weekly chart, we're still within the same pennant. We also had the 21 moving average, which if that were to continue making its wave up over time, we should break down out of this pennant and touch on that 21 moving average somewhere around mid-August is my guess. Because I think that once we break out of that, we're gonna at least wick that 21 moving average around 8,500. And I said this forever ago. And I'm not even a technical analysis guy. And those of you who follow me and those of you who watch my channel know that I've been saying this now for quite some time, and I do think it's going to happen. And I don't care if we touch here and we bounce back up here to, $12,000. I feel like that's what's going to happen here. I believe that, look, even though in this pennant, this could go either way. I think we're going to at least wick down to 8,500 before we start, and then we're likely going to shoot up. And if you think about this, don't think about this just from a perspective of the casual trader, okay? The retail investor driving the value of Bitcoin up or down. Think about this from a whale's perspective. If you bought 7,000 Bitcoin, let's just say you bought 1,000 Bitcoin at around $4,000 or $5,000, drove that price up to 6 or 7. Then the price started to rally on its own because people thought, okay, bear market's over, bull run, here we go. Bought in, accumulated up to around the $14,000 mark, and then some of the other whales started to take some profit because they knew this was a bullshit swing up. At that point, the market sentiment isn't about the retail market, because the retail market reacts to what the whales do, not the fucking news. It doesn't have anything to do with the news, people. If you're reading articles on Medium or CoinDesk or whatever, look, that stuff's informative, but it is not moving a market. As Dana White would have said about Nate Diaz, it's not a needle mover. Whether you're wrong or right, it's not a needle mover. And that's honestly the way I see this. I think about the market in terms of a whale. I put myself into the mindset of a whale when I'm looking at the market. I'm thinking, if I had 1,000 Bitcoin, or if I had the money to buy 5,000 Bitcoin, how would I play this market right now? I don't look at it from a retail investor's perspective, because the retail investor perspective is basically playing off of what they're seeing in the charts. The charts are manipulated by the whales, not the news, and therefore nothing is as predictable as you may be led to believe, even in technical analysis. In a regular market, where the market cap is significantly higher and it's much more difficult to move that needle buying 1,000 Bitcoins or, whatever, then at that point, I feel the technical analysis is going to be much more accurate. But as of right now, it's all about the whales. The whales are moving the needle. And so that being said, I still believe we're going to hit $8,500 at some point. That's just what I think. It's what my gut's saying. Am I selling to wait? Nope, I could be wrong. Keep in mind, this isn't financial advice. This is just some internet YouTube dude telling you what he thinks. That's it. I wouldn't trade on it. I'm not trading on it. What I am doing, however, is I started, because I'm really getting into technical analysis, not necessarily on Bitcoin, but I am kind of playing with technical analysis, because here's the thing. Even though technical analysis to me isn't going to define or foretell exacts in the grand picture, I do believe that technical analysis is helpful and useful in small scalp trades, some swing trading, and things of that nature. So I think that, well, what I've been doing is I want to get really good at TA for when I feel it's really going to matter. Right now, I don't think it matters that much. Like I said, the whales are moving the market. It's not the news. It's market sentiment, which is led by the whales. And then the articles follow suit. The same way, this is the perfect example. The same way, when Bitcoin's needle starts to move, what happens on YouTube? Myself included, and every other YouTuber out there does what? We start talking about Bitcoin, because that's what's getting all the traffic. And then what happens is a whale moves the market, the price starts to go up, people start to notice that, then people, news, media, websites, everyone starts to pump out article content related to Bitcoin to capture that search engine traffic. Because that's what people want to know about now. Because people see the needle move on Bitcoin and they think, I wonder what's causing this. And so they go and they look at, everything that has to do with Bitcoin to try and pinpoint why the needle moved. When all it was some guy in London or some guy in Asia or something like that who basically decided to pump the market buying a bunch of Bitcoin, start a FOMO rally that he can then dump on later. And that's it. That's all she wrote, folks. And that's what this is all about right now. So what I have been doing is, because I'm not going to swing trade my primary Bitcoin holdings, I literally have those locked up and I'm not touching them. I started with $500 at Friday. I started with $500 Friday. And I've been making small swing trades based off of my own TA, and I'm almost up to $600. But that's how I got to do it. That's how I'm learning. And so my hope is that if I can turn 500 into 1,000 through straight TA, on my own using altcoins and charting out altcoins and learning that game, then my hope is that once I believe that my TA will help me in trading Bitcoin, then I'll move over to Bitcoin. Now, this is something that I want to get into. Ethereum. Now, I'm watching the altcoin market take another tumble. And I'm thinking to myself, we've got guys like Ian Bellina, who are like, I may become a Bitcoin maximalist, the altcoin market. A lot of people can't hold through this trying time. And the one thing that I have as a true comfort is I believe I invested in some pretty damn good projects in 2017. And I believe that the projects that I invested in are going to stand the test of time. And when I invested in these projects, I invested in them using Ethereum. So for me, my goal has been not necessarily to multiply my Bitcoin holding, but to multiply my Ethereum holding. And something that I just saw, I just watched it on, no, I didn't go big and Verge. Basically, so I saw this recently. I actually found out about this article, honestly, watching Sonny Decree's recent video where he said, I sold it all. Sonny Decree has capitulated. And I think it's funny because while it could be a smart move, I mean, I don't know what he was holding. He could have a whole bunch of shit coins. He could have a mixed bag of a lot of good and bad. You don't know. Who knows? I don't know what he's holding. But he basically sold out because, in part of this video or this article, Bitcoin Cash, a short-term data availability layer for Ethereum. This was written by Vitalik Buterin. Basically, what this boils down to is Vitalik Buterin wants to use Bitcoin Cash to maintain the data layer of Ethereum because it's cheaper. Wow. Basically saying that, Ethereum 2.0 is a year out. And in the meantime, he wants to keep transaction fees and data transfer and things like that at a maximum. And the best way he thinks to do this is by utilizing Bitcoin Cash to accomplish this. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, all I see is Cardano, Cardano, Cardano. That's all I see. And I'm thinking, okay, so this is obviously driving altcoin market sentiment down a bit. Because when you have something like Ethereum, who is ultimately looking to Bitcoin Cash and saying, now, and here's the other side to this, Roger Ver. Now, I've seen good men turn to the dark side with Roger Ver. And I don't know how Roger Ver is doing it. And I'm not saying he's even doing anything. I don't know what Roger Ver is doing. For all I know, Roger Ver could be a super, super great dude, a super cool guy outside of the crypto space, outside. Maybe he's just a vicious competitor in a market he believes in. I don't know. I've never talked to the man. I have guys like Robert Beatles tell me how great he is. Okay, cool. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. I've tried in the past. I've tried to interview him. I've tried to get him on. I've tried to see where his mindset's at. Back in the days when he was yelling at people for saying different things and just going ape shit, I was like, I'll talk to him. I don't care. I feel like I'm not a bad interviewer, as long as somebody's willing to actually talk openly. If people get shady and wishy-washy and stuff like that, that's when things could get a little awkward. I'm so open on so many levels that I just kind of let it all spill out. And, I prefer that when I'm talking to somebody. Let's not play games, right? Now, I would love to believe that Roger Ver is like the best dude ever. And I've seen the situations with Jimmy Song and Tone Vase at like different, I don't know, conventions or rallies or wherever they were supposed to debate. And it looked like Roger Ver kind of rigged the whole thing, all of that. And because of that mentality, a part of me wonders, is there more to this situation? Because as I understand it, you know what, I almost shouldn't even make this correlation because I don't even know. There's nothing supporting it. It's all speculation. I guess all I'm really trying to say is there an incentive outside of just making Ethereum overall run a little bit better? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, because I know how deals can be made and relationships can be established and what those relationships could mean. And I'm not saying that Vitalik is taking anything. I'm not saying any of that. But when I see something like this, not only did you create Ethereum to basically compete with Bitcoin, but now you're going to go into bed. You're going to lay in bed with a Bitcoin fork. And I don't get the relationship. I don't understand why you would even come out with something like this. Why would you push the market sentiment, not only for Ethereum, but ultimately for the altcoin market overall, down? What reason would you have to do this? So in the longer term, 1 year out, the scalable data layer is going to be Ethereum 2.0 because its planned 10 megabytes a second data throughput is much higher than that of any existing blockchain. In the shorter term, however, we can start working on these techniques immediately by using existing blockchains, particularly those that have lower transaction fees per byte than Ethereum as the data layer. Bitcoin Cash arguably fits the bill perfectly for a few reasons. High data throughput, very low fees. We already have the machinery we need to verify Bitcoin Cash blocks inside of Ethereum. We just need to repoint it to the blockchain cash chain and turn it back on. Verifying blockchain or Bitcoin Cash blocks is also quite cheap compared to ETC blocks. The Bitcoin Cash community seems to be friendly to people using their chain for whatever they want as long as they pay the transaction fees. When I see stuff like this, I'm thinking, these are all the reasons why Charles Hoskinson created Cardano. All of these issues that Ethereum is now looking to outside sources to resolve, Cardano is being developed right now, and they're getting ready to launch this year. So while Ethereum is basically saying, oh, well, a lot of this cool stuff is a year out, Cardano's saying, hey, we're getting ready to launch a lot of this shit before the end of this year. I'm telling you, and I've been saying this stuff since the beginning, I feel like Cardano has a really good opportunity to take over Ethereum's market share. And we're going to find out. We're going to get a much better idea as to exactly what Cardano's capable of once they've launched Shelley and once they've launched the smart contract protocol. That is going to be freaking nuts. And I anxiously await seeing all of the different dApps that are going to be launched on Cardano's blockchain. I anxiously await if we're going to have STOs, I want to see these STOs take shape on Cardano. I don't want to see anymore. At this point, to me, look, Ethereum is always going to rise in ebb and flow with the price of Bitcoin. I think that it's getting kicked in the pants now, as are a lot of other altcoins. But I also see this as the exchanges pushing the value of these altcoins down. These exchanges are shorting the altcoin market. Because let's face it, the same reason I'm excited because I'm preparing to launch an exchange at what I hope is going to be the low, the most recent low of the market. It's the same reason these exchanges are shorting and pushing the value of these altcoins down, because they know that by doing this, they are going to make absolute fortunes in the next full-blown bull market and the altcoin rally. And when I see this altcoin capitulation happening among YouTubers and then the followers of those YouTubers who are just blindly kind of doing whatever these YouTubers, I tell each and every one of you guys, don't listen to me. Don't ever listen to me. I don't care if I'm insanely bullish on an altcoin project. Go through it yourself. Don't ever buy something just because I say, oh, I like this. I could be wrong. I don't know what's a scam 100%. I don't know. I could give a poor review to a project that ends up doing really well. I don't think that's happened yet, but it could. And I could give a really positive review about a project that turns out to be some sort of bullshit. You never listen to us YouTubers. Use us as a guide to direct you into the proper research that you can do on your own. For me, when I see stuff like this with Ethereum, I'm like, you know what? That's just fine by me. That's just fine by me, because this to me is another stake in the potential long-term coffin. And you know what? Even if it does make a comeback in the next year, if we have an altcoin rally, which I expect we will at some point, likely in the more near future than the distant future. I think once Bitcoin has done its thing, once we've at least wicked at 8,500, which is what I seriously think is likely. Once we've at least wicked at 8,500 and we start to recover from that, Bitcoin's going to rise up. The altcoins are being pushed into a position now where in a nutshell, they're going to be highly, highly profitable for everybody. I mean, that's really all there is to it. And I'm not dumping my alts. I'm not selling my alts off. I believe in at least, I would say 75% of the alts that I got into. And I think they're going to do well. And I think they're really, especially now, I think that once this altcoin rally starts kicking off, I think they're especially going to do even better against Ethereum. And what I'm hoping is, if the altcoin rally really kicks off once Bitcoin hits somewhere between 18 and 22,000, which is what I'm hoping for and I kind of expect, once that takes place, even if Ethereum lags over the next year and I multiply my Ethereum position and then I decide I might want to hold on to my Ethereum until it gets itself situated over the next year, but again, that's going to depend on what's happening in the rest of the market. But honestly, I expect Cardano to take over at some point. I really do. I mean, I think Cardano is third gen. Cardano is not second generation. So, look, I'm actually quite bullish, even against, Ethereum dropping 33% in the last week alone, and other altcoins dropping even more. I'm fine with that. Bitcoin down 23% in the last 7 days, currently at 9,628. We're getting there. And I'm not a prophet, people. I'm not a prophet. And I really don't think I'm anything special. The only thing that makes me special as a YouTuber is that I'm typically pretty good at taking very complex situations and explaining them in a way that anybody can understand. And because I'm half brilliant and half stupid, so I can kind of meet somewhere in the middle and put things into words that just everybody can get. Outside of that, I'm not a prophet, but I also have a way of making sense of, situations and I'm a problem solver. That's what I've been my whole life. Is I'm very good at solving problems. Present a problem, I'll figure out a way to resolve it. And that's it. Look, Cardano's at 5 cents. We saw Cardano at didn't we see Cardano touch 2 cents? I mean, it's still, I don't know what to say, but this looks good to me. I know this sounds nuts, but there's going to come a time in the relatively near future, I believe, when these altcoins are when they start to really, really bust out, and we're going to look back on days like this and we're going to say, I knew it, and I'm glad I held. And even if, look, if some people, there's a mindset, there's a mindset of people that say, okay, if I exit out of everything right now into something like Tether, if everything continues to fall for another week or two, then when I get back in, I'll do better. Okay, there's that possibility. And it's a huge, huge gamble. However, the flip side to that is, what if everybody's wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if Bitcoin decides it's not going to hit 8,500? What if we went down to 9,000 by the end of the day and then we shoot through the moon this weekend, which is absolutely possible? Absolutely possible. Because at that point, everybody that's capitulating now and dumping all their alts and everything else to try and get back into Bitcoin, which is currently at a Bitcoin dominance of 66.58%, look, I guess either way you stand to make some money, but it's not a chance I'm willing to take. I'm not going to dump my alts. I'm just going to hold strong because I believe in the decisions that I made based off of the research I have done and the way I've been kind of keeping tabs on progress. I know one altcoin in here that I cannot wait. The CEO of the company promised that he's going to make the final announcements live on my channel. And I'm trying to see where it's at in the market right now. I don't want to punch it in directly. Is it not even in the top 100 right now? It's not even in the top 100. That's cool. Man, when this happens, it's going to be crazy. But I have been chatting now with the CEO of a particular project that I have been bullish on. I reviewed it at ICO. I said, look, I think this is going to be a winner. And I told him I won't say anything. He trusted me with some really big information. And as much as I would love to, I have not gone out and bought more. I'm not trying to get pinched for insider trading or anything like that. But there's a project that once that announcement is we can make that shit public, I think it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise, and people are going to be like, holy cow, this is what's possible. This is what's happening. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's everything has to be finalized still. I think verbal agreements have been made, but paper agreements are in process. And I think that's what they're waiting on to announce it. So, I mean, that's as public as I can make about what is happening. But, and at the same time, will it matter if the current market sentiment, like, look, if just my viewers end up getting the announcement, like initially, you guys are going to stand to do, I mean, potentially pretty well given what's going to be announced. Because I think after this announcement is made directly from the CEO, everyone else is going to be playing catch up. And I think this is going to be the kind of news that the media is going to grab onto and be like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're all about this. And so I'm really excited about it. And I love the fact that me being the first to be bullish on many of this, I mean, quite a few of these projects that I was bullish on from the very, very beginning, Cardano being one of them. See, I don't want to name anymore because then I'll give some of the stuff away. But I feel very good about that. I feel very good when I see these projects meeting or exceeding expectations substantially, because that makes me feel good about what I do. And look, I've been wrong about stuff too. I mean, I've invested in projects that I was wrong about. I've been snowed like others. You go into a project at ICO thinking everything is one way, and you come to find out later on that it's all a bunch of smoke and mirrors. I mean, I've been victim to that. It's really difficult. Some of these people are really good at their bullshit. And without meeting a lot of these people in person, without getting a true vibe, I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, I have no idea how many people I even have with me right now. I have no clue whatsoever. But anyway, let me take another quick look. What's happening? Oh, let me look at a 4-hour. Wow, even on a 4-hour, it's still staying inside my little channel here. I mean, I guess it was, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, we've went down, but our goal about right here, well, this is where I expect to see us at some point. That's 89, around here, some point. And I think once we hit this, whether we wick it or what, there's not that much further to go to get to 8,500. We've got basically $1,000. It'd be really crazy if we hit this $8,500 mark this week, and then moving into the weekend, we start to rip. That would be wonderful. Well, hopefully. Maybe give me another week. We'll see. So that's it. Unfortunately, I haven't even really had a chance to look at chat. Let me take a quick look at chat, see what's going on in there. Do me a favor. Like the video, share the video, post your comments, because it's really difficult to get into the chat sometimes when I'm talking. How much did the CEO pay you? He didn't pay me anything. I will say, though, I invested at ICO. I did invest in the project I'm talking about at ICO. And I reviewed the project, and I liked the project. And I think once this stuff comes out, I think that, look, I can't say anything just because I think the only people that know what's going on is their team. And so yeah, I can't be specific about what's happening. So yeah, I'm very bullish, and I'm very happy with what I've been told. So and like if I were allowed to share my chat with him, I mean, you could see he's jacked up. Like he's like over the moon jacked up. Like I can't, like we pulled this off. It's taken all this time, but we finally did it. I just hope that the papers get signed. So no, I don't have an NDA necessarily, but I gave him my word I wasn't going to say anything. Anyone you mean? I have no idea what that means. I have no idea how to read that. Chris Rock, nobody knows, but I agree $20 will be seen again this year. I don't personally think that we're going to go lower than 85. I think anything is possible, but I think once we touch on the 8,500 mark, if I'm to guess anything, now that it seems like a lot of people are starting to come around to 80 and say, oh, 8,500 for this reason or that reason. I think now that that's almost expected, it probably won't happen. Whether it maybe it's 7,500. You know what I mean? I think that the market does what the market's not going to do what we all expect it to do. So, why 8,500? There's no statistical. Well, there's one actually. So, I mean, if you look at a weekly chart, you'll see the 21 EMA, which is, man, this got. Oh shoot, I changed my other one. I should have done that. I already had it up. So if you look back at the market's past, you'll notice that on a weekly chart, the price typically pulls back. Even in a bull market, the price will typically pull back to and touch the 21 EMA. And we're on our way to do that right now. I mean, they're trying to catch each other. So if the 21 EMA reaches up here sometime around this point, I mean, the 21 EMA would reach about 8,500. And, I've looked at a lot of different crossovers and things like that in the history, and finding different like EMA patterns and things. I've seen some other YouTubers talk about some of these patterns with the EMAs, and that's basically one of the big reasons. And so that's why I think that we're going to hit 8,500. And I think that, as more and more people come out and they say, hey, well, we're going to touch on this, we're going to hit this price, well, then that's what's expected. And it does, I think, to a certain degree, start to slow the market's buying down a little bit. And like I said, technical analysis to some degree creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough people believe in something, it's more likely to happen. And I think that as we move forward, we're likely to see that. Now, I also think that the whales are going to be watching the charts, and they're going to be saying, okay, all right, well, we hit our 8,500. That's where the public believed. So they're likely ready to start buying in. And we'll see what happens. They're going to play it how they're going to play it from there. But I do believe that the market is led by whales, not news. So, okay, I'm going to call it here and get some other work done. It's about 1:37, not too long of a video, but I just wanted to kind of address this. Like I'm totally fine. I'm totally happy with what's going on in the market. Leave your comments. I have been checking a lot of the comments recently, and leave your comments down below. Drop me a like if you like. I'd appreciate it. And I'm happy to go over some of these comments throughout the day and answer some questions and things like that. Got quite a few subscribers to this video today, though, so that's pretty cool. I appreciate it. Sirkan, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. 99% of coins with over 500 million coins will go to zero. Looking dire. Totally disagree. I think that's craziness. Look, I've done videos in the past on this. Check out. If you think for a second that people are going to not get back into the altcoin market en masse once they feel that Bitcoin has reached a particular target, I think you're crazy. If you don't think that people are going to be going into things like Cardano Stellar Lumens, XRP, a lot of this stuff, you're crazy. People are going to go in, they're going to get those gains. And the whales are going to be going into the altcoin market as well. Don't kid yourself. I do not care. People are still investing in Dogecoin, people. I mean, even through the last bear market. So, mind blown. But if people are going to invest in Dogecoin, they're going to invest in a lot better projects as well. So until next time, crow your coins, and I'll see you again real soon. Thanks, folks.